Good morning. Today is Monday, November 11th. This is Wake Up with KERA News, and I'm Andrew Garcia. This Veterans Day, the sun's on full display, and temperatures will peak in the mid-70s. Health officials are seeing more cases than usual of pneumonia. That's led the CDC to lower its age recommendation for the pneumonia vaccine, and we'll hear more about that story after today's news. A jury has been selected in the federal civil case against a former Dallas police officer, Amber Guyger. Guyger shot and killed Botham Jean in his home in 2018, testifying that she thought he was an intruder in her apartment after she entered the wrong unit. She was convicted of murder and is serving 10 years in prison. Guyger has waived her right to appear in the civil trial, and no one will represent her. The trial is expected to start November 18th. Republicans will soon make up more than 70% of the appeals court justices in Texas after last week's election. That's up from about 50% of seats. All the new justices were endorsed by the Judicial Fairness PAC. The group wanted to unseat Democratic judges over claims they let criminals out of jail on little or no bail. Republican Dallas Judge J.J. Koch was endorsed by the PAC. He says appellate judges don't have as much say in criminal cases as the group's ads suggest. The Texas Supreme Court and Court of Criminal Appeals also remain in Republican control. Last month, the CDC lowered the age recommendation for the vaccine against pneumonia. Before it was 65 and older, the health agency now says you should get the shot at age 50. KERA's Sam Bekah talks with Dr. David Winter, an internist with Baylor Scott & White Dallas, about the reasons for the change.
We're seeing a lot more of it lately. That's the concern. It used to be mainly in older folks, but we're now seeing it in middle-aged Americans. And so because the increase in the incidence, they're now recommending the vaccine, which works pretty well to minimize or sometimes even prevent the pneumonia.
But what's causing the spread?
Most cases pop up randomly. It's unlikely or it's unusual for someone to say, I got it from so-and-so. You can get it from a viral infection. Once the virus gets in your lungs and increases secretions, you can get a secondary bacterial infection. So that's one way. But we're not really sure why there's more pneumonia out there. Maybe more people are congregating together. Maybe the pneumonia bug itself is more virulent. We just don't actually know the reason.
The CDC is touting this as battling pneumococcal bacteria. So I know that involves pneumonia, but it involves more than that, correct?
The bacteria can cause other infections. Very rare cases of pneumococcal meningitis. It's thought the vaccine may also help to prevent that. But the most common thing it does, it gets in the lungs, and that's where it spreads. And that's what they're recommending the vaccine for, because that's the most common thing we're seeing at this point. The pneumonia vaccine works very well. It has very minimal side effects. I mean, you might get a sore arm for a day or two, sometimes some aching, but usually not severe side effects at all. And it works very effectively. People who get pneumonia who've had a vaccine do very well. They may not get it at all. They have very mild symptoms. So it is worthwhile to consider.
Will it require some kind of follow-up or booster later?
Yeah, there's a lot of different pneumonia vaccines out there. The newer ones are called pneumococcal 20 or pneumococcal 21, and those are a lifetime vaccine. If you get those, that's all that you need. The older ones, they don't tend to last as long, so it's recommended that you go ahead and get these newer vaccines, the pneumococcal 20 or pneumococcal 21.
Is this only for everyone, 50 and older, or is it for those maybe who are younger with certain risk conditions?
Yeah, the previous recommendations were if you were 65 or older, you should get a pneumococcal vaccine. Now they're saying if you're 50 or older, you should get one. But indeed, if you're younger than that and have some immune deficiency condition or have some chronic illness like a chronic heart disease, lung disease, kidney disease, you also should consider getting one at that age.
Is this something that's needed to be done before now?
Well, typically in the past, we see mainly serious cases of pneumonia in the older folks. And if you were younger, you tolerated it pretty well and got over it pretty quickly. But there has been an increase in severe cases of pneumonia in younger folks. That's the reason for the new recommendation.
Just how dangerous is pneumonia?
A lot of folks have mild cases. We actually call that walking pneumonia. That's not a medical term. It means you walk in the doctor's office and we say, you have pneumonia and here's your antibiotics. You can now go home. But we're seeing more severe cases now, and that's the concern. These cases require hospitalization, the severe cases, and sometimes they actually end up in death. That's the reason we're targeting now everyone over age 50 and older. Also, young children, by the way. If you're under age 5, you need a series of pneumonia vaccinations. They can also get a severe case of pneumococcal pneumonia.
That was KERA's Sam Baker speaking with Dr. David Winter with Baylor Scott & White, Dallas. The Cowboys lost 34-6 against the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday in their first game without franchise quarterback Dak Prescott since his injury last week. He'll be out the rest of the season after undergoing surgery on his hamstring. Unfortunately, adding to the losing weekend, the Dallas Mavericks lost 2 close ones, falling to the Suns on Friday night by 1 point, 114-113, and then losing another nail-biter to the Nuggets last night, 122-120. That's despite a stunning 43-point performance from Kyrie Irving. The Mavs now fall to 500 on the season with a 5-5 record. Head to Oak Point Park in Plano for Veterans Day. The Plano Flags of Honor tribute features over 1,000 flags to show gratitude for those who've served. For more information and other things to do, visit kera.org/calendar. Thanks so much for listening to Wake Up with KERA News. I'm your host, Andrew Garcia. The show was produced and edited by Shardae White and Bekah Morr. For more news in your inbox, you can visit kera.org/wakeup. That's where you can subscribe to the Wake Up with KERA News newsletter, written by our colleague Catherine Hobbs. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at KERATX, and we'll see you tomorrow.